I think the movie that I like watching the most, that I could watch like over and over and over again, you guys are gonna probably laugh, but it's Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Just one of those good 80s movies. You know, you're home, it's summer, you put it on, it's on HBO, and you just take a nap, basically. So that's probably my favorite to watch. The most fun, I would say, would be the end of Hatchet 2. Was the most fun that I've had. I don't know what you guys saw. I know they cut out a lot of it here, but I actually hit him 22 times, and I started laughing while I was doing it because I've never had so much fun. I finally get to get the bad guy back. So that was probably the most fun for me to shoot.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming project? I've seen you involved in a lot of projects, and how do you choose those roles? Or do you have to go to the auditions like everybody else, or do people come up to you and say, I want you for that special role?
In the horror genre, they find me, basically. I read a lot of scripts, and most of them are stuff that I've done a bunch of times and don't really want to do again. And I feel like I've been the victim so many times in movies that while it's fun like the first 5 times to die on film, after that it's just like, all right, I'm kind of bored, so I want to do something else. So after Halloween 2, I thought I want to do different things, so I did a web series with Robert Englund and Kane Hodder, and then I did Night of the Living Dead, The Origins, which is, I play Barbara. That's a CGI 3D animated feature that I think is going to come out this year with Tony Todd and Bill Moseley. And then I did a vampire movie called Stakeland, which is awesome. Just was released in the States last weekend, and it's so good. Our vampires don't sparkle. They're like real and scary, and I wouldn't do one of those movies. I'd like that paycheck, but I wouldn't want to do one of those movies. And then I did a movie called The Victim with Michael Biehn and Jennifer Blanc, which is like a grindhouse style movie. You can check it out online if you go to grindhousethevictim.com. I play this sassy stripper, cokehead, bad girl. Fun roles. And then, what else do I have coming up? I think that's a couple of other things here and there are gonna kind of pop up. So lots of good stuff to watch this year.
You recently had a casting for Californication, where sadly they didn't choose you. What kind of character should you play?
It was, I don't audition a lot. In the genre, people know me outside. I'm just, I've been working for a really long time, and people, because I'm older but I play younger, and I'm petite, they kind of don't really know what to do with me. I don't fit the normal girl on TV bill, So it was their new nanny, and she ends up getting involved with Charlie. So it would have been 8 episodes, and it would have been incredibly risque, the stuff that I would have had to have done, but I was looking forward to it. So it was one of those, I auditioned for it, and I've had like 3 auditions in a year, and I auditioned for the show, which I love, and the casting director's like, you're the girl, you're the girl, you're the girl, we gotta get your tape over to the head of Showtime to get approved. You're not going anywhere, right? And I was like, well, I'm going to Germany tomorrow at 6:45 in the morning. And she was like, oh no, you can't leave, you work on Monday. And like, you're going to get the job. It's like, oh my God, if I have to cancel this show one more fucking time, these guys are gonna kill me. So I was at a screening for The Victim that night, and I had my phone on, and at 7:30, first she called and said, you got it, and I was like, oh my God, and then she called back and said, forget it, I ended up not going with you. So, on to the next. But it'd be nice to do TV. I haven't done TV in so long, It'd be nice to do something that's still kind of a bad girl and kind of stuff that you guys would like to watch. That's, I'm not going to go on Gossip Girl, or whatever, one of those shows, but something that's kind of cool. I get to play me. but that's a bit of a regular job. Would be nice for a minute.
You're now a little bit longer in the business. Do you ever wanted to be an actress, or did it just came to you with the roles and everything?
You know, I get asked that a lot, and I think I started at 7, I think was my first job. And I think then you know, people say, oh, I've always wanted to be an actress. Honestly, at 7, you don't even know what an actress is. You just like want to be a movie star. So, and then all of a sudden you start to, you know, work and understand what it is. And when you get older, that's why I'm like very anti-children being in the business. I feel like they need to wait until they know what they're getting into, because it's a really hard business. So I always tell mom and dads, like, I know your kid's cute, let them go to school, leave them alone, let them play, they can do theater, whatever, let them be kids. And then when they get older, then they can go, oh, I want to be an actress. But once I turned 18, I knew, like, there's really nothing else that I could see myself doing. I do want to direct. I've been doing a bunch of short films and working on projects like that, so that's sort of the next step for me. And it will be something in the horror genre. And I feel like there's so few female directors, and all the leads are like women, or all the heroines, so I don't know why there's all these dudes directing us chicks. So I'm kind of gonna step up for the women that like horror and make some really badass horror chick movies that aren't chick movies, because I don't like girly movies.
So for you, what would be a role that you would consider as a challenge? Like, I have the impression you're at the moment a little bit nailed down to the horror genre. So for you, what would be a challenge?
You know, I saw the movie Sucker Punch. I don't think it's come here yet, but that is it in the cinema now? That movie is so awesome. I mean, I watched it with one of my girlfriends, and we were like, oh, they're so badass. They're just these like super cool, strong, sexy, badass chicks with, you know, guns and fighting monsters and fire-breathing dragons and all this cool stuff. So that would be something that I would really like to do.
You did a movie called The Black Waters of Eco's Pub, and I just wanted to ask if you know something about a release on DVD or something like this?
You know, I think Sean Clark, the producer, was saying something about it's going to be released here before it's going to be in the States, that's for sure, on DVD, so hopefully soon. But it's been so many years now that it's like, I'm waiting just as well as you guys are. I just saw a copy about a month ago for the first time. I hadn't seen anything.
And what do you think about it?
I think it's fun. You know, I think it's cheesy. But it's supposed to be. You know, Jimmy Duvall is a really good friend of mine, so is Marcia and Electra and Elise. Like, they're all my friends that did it, so I wanted to be a part of it. My character's kind of bitchy and always complaining and kind of cold, and I don't really like to see myself like that. I like to have a little more fun, so I get annoyed watching myself on screen in that movie. But I think it's a fun movie. I think it's pretty good.
And another question, you did Hatchet Part 2?
Yes.
And how did you become involved in it? Because your part was played from another
actress,
in
yeah.
the first one.
Well, I auditioned for the first one, and I didn't get the job. And Adam Green and we became friends over the years after that, and I said, why did you cast me, you know? Well, and he said, well, because I had like all these other people from all these other franchises, and it was starting to look stupid. Like this one from this movie, this one from this movie, and then I got you from Halloween. Like I just couldn't do it. I wanted to cast sort of a no-name for the girl. And I was like, oh, right, whatever. We better give me a job at some point. So every time something came up, like he did a movie called Frozen. I don't know if anyone saw it, but it was fabulous. And I called him and said, okay, you're making a movie. I know there's a part in there for me. And he said, you don't want to do this movie. And I was like, why? He's like, trust me, there's going to be another one. So I was filming Steakland, and he called me up and said, okay, there's a possibility that Tamara, who played Mary Beth in the first one, is not going to come back. Now, no one knows this yet, but I would love to have you come back if you want to do it. And I was like, done, I'm in, sign me up. Done, whatever, I'm in. He was like, oh my god, I'm like a schoolboy, I'm so excited right now. So called my agent, said Adam's going to call you, whatever they offer, just take it. He's my friend. She said, okay. So I get back to LA, and I hadn't even seen a script yet, but I took it without seeing a script. Same with Halloween. I took it, never saw a script until like 2 weeks later. It's kind of scary to sign up for something you don't even know what you're going to do. And Adam called me and said, okay, I'm dropping the script off at your house right now. Don't be mad at me, but you're crying in like every fucking scene. I was like, yeah, whatever. And it was like page 1 in the swamp. I was like, oh God, this is going to be so hard. So it was probably the most challenging movie for me because normally as an actor you have like, you start off being fun, sassy, and with your friends, and then you only have like one scene where you have to fight the bad guy and then you die. But for me, I was like a wreck from the first scene throughout the entire movie. So I think there was one day that I didn't have some huge speech or crying about something or whatever, and it was when we were in the voodoo shop, and I was listening to Reverend Zombie gather the group to go hunting, and it was the best day because I could just sit there, and Tony Todd had all the dialogue. So that was probably the easiest day that I had on the set. But other than that, between the crying and the fighting them and, the accent that I had to do, and oh my God. And I said to Adam, like, I want you to help make sure that when I get angry, because I'm from New York, so when I get angry, I don't sound like I'm from Brooklyn when I'm yelling, so just keep my accent in check. And he was like, got it. And I said, I want you guys to root for me. Because normally you're like, you want Victor Crowley to win. You root for the bad guy. So I really kind of had to have you on my side. So then when I come back at the end, you're like, yes, get him. But rarely do you want the girl to win. You want him to, So it was nice I got to do that for once.
So I have a question from the audience I have to translate. How did you get involved in Rob Zombie's Halloween? Did you get offered the part, or can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, I was at a convention in Boston, and a fan came up to my table and said, oh, I hear they're remaking Halloween. And I said, really? He said, yeah, Rob Zombie's doing it. I said, really? Rob Zombie? I was always a fan of Rob Zombie, so Rob Zombie's doing it. And he said, yeah, you're gonna play Laurie. I said, oh, really? I hadn't heard that. That's cool. I better call somebody. So I called my agent and said that Rob Zombie's doing this movie, and I would love to have like a cameo. I never thought I could play Laurie. Have a cameo or something, because I didn't think that I would ever come back as a different character, because that had never been done before. And Rob said absolutely not, that he didn't want anybody from any of the other Halloween movies in this movie. So we went over his head and contacted Dimension and contacted the Weinsteins and contacted the producers, and he still said no, no, no. So I snuck into an audition and looked at the breakdown, which shows you all the different characters, and I went, maybe I can be Annie. That might work, I don't know. So I went into audition for it, signed in, and had my pages for Halloween, which was so weird. And I went on tape without him knowing about it. And if you see the outtakes on the DVD, I think you can see all of our auditions. So I just went in and read for Annie and got a call a couple days later that I won Rob Zombie over and okay, I have the part. And then I thought I was going to die because, I thought the original Annie dies, there's no way that I'm going to live. And I got the script and I read through the script and I was waiting for the scene in the laundry room and waiting for her to get in the car and, and none of that was in there. And I got to the end and went, oh my God, I live! I fucking live! Oh my God, he let me live! So I thought that was pretty cool. Because no one expected it, not even me.
Talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween, I read an interview from him and he said that shooting this movie was very difficult because of the studio. Did you guys notice this while shooting the movie?
I noticed it more on the second one than the first one. I only worked like maybe 8 or 9 days on the first one, so I wasn't really there for a lot of that stuff. And I worked in the very beginning of the shoot, before shit went down, I think. Rob's is used to making movies independent and his way, which is the best way to make them. And when the studio execs get involved and they want, you know, I think, for example, I think originally Rob had a really hard time casting Laurie. They did not want Scout at all. They wanted just stupid choices. Brittany Snow, who was in like Prom Night, and they also even considered Leanne Rimes, the singer. Right, that's who's making decisions. Okay, so Rob really fought for Scout. We thought she was perfect, and she was. So you have too many cooks in the kitchen, someone's going to spoil the soup, and that's kind of what was happening. Is that he wasn't able to make his movie the way he wanted to make his movie, and he'd never experienced a studio before like that. And he and I had a conversation, and I said to him, I'm really sorry that this has been your experience. Like, you're the biggest Halloween fan that I know, and this is such a dream for you, and like they've ruined it. And that kind of sucks, you know. But he tried to make the best movie he could under their guidelines, basically.
It's me again.
Ah.
You played with a lot of horror icons. You think at yourself like, hey, I'm an horror icon, I'm a screen queen.
Not really. I mean, it's still weird to me that I'm, 24 years later, I'm still talking about Halloween. Like, never would I have thought this would be my career. And I didn't do horror movies for like 20 years. After Halloween 5, I think Urban Legend was the only one that I did up until Rob Zombie's Halloween. So it's really only been the last like 3 years that I've been sort of back into that. I love them because they're hard work. You know, as an actor, they're incredibly challenging to show up and have to be that emotional all the time. These girls that do comedies have it so easy and get paid so much money, and they film in like the Bahamas. I'm in like buttfuck Michigan in like 20-degree weather, wearing barely any clothes all night long, covered in blood, screaming, bruises. I have the flu, but I kind of wouldn't want it any other way. Because when I do work that I'm not doing that, I don't feel like I'm earning my money because I'm so used to doing that that's too easy almost. So do I consider myself a scream queen or a horror icon? I'm just an actress that likes to do these movies and just shows up. And I'm a fan of horror movies, so when I go to the movies and see a lot of these actresses that have these roles that I see them phoning it in, I get really pissed off. Like, if you're gonna do it, bring it. And especially me, because you guys have all seen me grow up in these movies, I know that the standard for what you expect from me is like here, because you know when I'm doing my job or not doing my job. So I always have to bring it. And I try to.
For you personally, what do you think are the shadow sides of the business? The shadow sides of the business, things you don't like as an actor.
Things I don't like as an actor. I can go on and on. I don't like people that take themselves too seriously or that are like divas or have attitude. I find that with newer actors that haven't worked as much, there's more attitude, which is like, you're not going to read off camera? I'm sorry, excuse me? So there's a little bit of that, but 99% of people are like amazing, and I think that's because I keep working with the same guys over and over and over again. So, how many movies can Tony Todd and I do, Bill Moseley and I do, Lance Henriksen and I, and but it's great, Kane and I, Robert Englund and I, so I'm in a really good group. I know what I'm getting into. It's like, every time I go back on a movie with them, it's like I just had summer vacation and I get to go back to school. Or they're kind of like summer vacation. So it's nice to be the only girl in this group of big, burly men.
You said before you like to go to the movies yourself. Do you have any idols or people you are looking up to?
Wow. There's a lot. I have like this, enormous list of people that I want to work with. You know, honestly, anyone that's like staying out of trouble and doing good things for charities on the side and are continuing to work and are staying in their marriages and, you know, just people that have integrity as people. I don't really care as far as like what movies they're doing or, you know, I don't look up to them because they're famous. I just respect them if I meet them and they're nice to me, to be honest.
I think we got room for one more question. Or maybe is there something you want to share with the audience? Something you have never been asked before?
What have I never been asked before? Anything that you guys want to know that you've never heard me talk about? Anything? Yes.
Which one of your movie enemies was scarier? Michael Myers or Roseanne Connor?
No, Roseanne was great. She's a little crazy, but she was great. Unfortunately, I worked the year that her and Tom were getting separated, so there was a lot of like crazy yelling on set. Let's see. She's strict though. She's pretty hardcore. I'll tell you a story. This is gonna make me sound like I'm a bad girl, but whatever. It was the episode where Darlene and I go to the concert. And I don't know, are you guys Roseanne fans? Anyone ever watch me on Roseanne? Okay. So go to the concert. I was 16 in real life, and it was the 100th episode. So there was this big party because it means the show's syndicated and everybody can make $1 million except for me, but they, you know, whatever. And so we had a party, and I had a huge crush on David, who was played by Johnny Galecki. And I didn't know that David and Darlene, Sarah Gilbert, were secretly kind of seeing each other. So we went to this party, and she said to me, she was asking me about, you know, about him, and I said, I have a huge crush on him, trying to bond. She was never really that cool with me, so I was like trying to be her cool, whatever, friend. And she said, really, you have a crush on him? I said, yeah. And then Johnny was like giving me shots, and where I thought I was cool, and I'm drinking. First one was really drinking, doing shots and all, blah, blah, blah. I fell down the stairs of this club in front of Roseanne, went outside, threw up in the bushes, had pictures taken by paparazzi of me, and she decided to not have me on for 7 episodes in a row. So I got punished. So Michael Myers may have let me off a little bit easier than Roseanne, that's for sure. Anything else?
I'm here.
Oh no.
Hello. How are you? Doing well? Okay, I'm very sorry, but our time is up for today. Miss Harris will be on stage tomorrow. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle.